Rich's Ride didn't begin as an organization or a mission project. We weren't thinking about fundraising or telling a story. In the beginning, it was just a dream about a bike ride. But guys in wheelchairs don't do cross-country hand-cycle rides. It was a totally crazy idea. The ultimate impossible dream. What's the power of hope? What can the human spirit accomplish when it looks beyond the limits? What if the limits are illusions? On September 12, 2011, 4 people and a dog gathered on the shore of remote Lake Itasca State Park in northern Minnesota at the headwaters of the Mississippi River. After a brief ceremony to mark the occasion, Rich Dixon climbed onto his specially designed cycle and began a most unlikely journey, the result of a God-sized dream more than a decade in the making. With his wife Becky as one-person support team and service dog Monty as people magnet and part-time running companion, Rich was about to challenge everything he thought he'd learned about the limitations of life in a wheelchair. During the next 8 weeks, he pedaled 1,500 miles along the Mississippi River to the Gulf of Mexico, using only his arms. Along the way, Rich, Becky, and Monty lived the incredible story of a journey of hope called Rich's Ride. This was something I dreamed about ever since I started hand cycling in 1999, but honestly, I didn't truly believe it was possible. I didn't think someone who'd spent 25 years in a wheelchair could take on this kind of challenge. It was fun to imagine, but the notion of actually doing something so difficult seemed completely unreasonable. But in early 2011, something changed. I came to believe that God inspired this dream, and I wanted to take it seriously. I decided I didn't want to give in to fear. Rich was intentionally challenging his ideas about limits and possibilities. He never cycled more than 30 miles in a single day, but reaching his 1,500-mile goal would require 40 to 50 miles per day for 8 weeks. But the ride wasn't about miles or numbers. Rich's Ride demonstrates what's possible when we focus on ability instead of disability. Before we started, Becky and I decided we had a story to tell. We believed others might be inspired and encouraged by what God was doing through the ride. So we shared our story along the route. We spoke in churches, schools, senior centers, community service clubs, and homeless shelters. We talked about hope, a confident expectation based on faith. We talked about abilities and possibilities and following God-sized dreams. They spoke to more than 4,000 people in 26 different groups. They heard powerful, inspiring stories of people who faced fear and overcame adversity and moved forward. The stories surrounding a simple bike ride became an affirmation of a powerful truth. Hope changes what's possible. These stories became an essential part of the journey of hope. As people joined the circle surrounding the ride, amazing unplanned events unfolded. A few bikers met Rich along the route and rode along for a few miles or days. Some folks connected Becky and Rich with friends and speaking opportunities as they traveled. And everywhere there was generosity as people selflessly addressed the needs of hungry children around the globe. When the ride ended, donors and corporate sponsors to Rich's Ride had contributed nearly $60,000 to Convoy of Hope. We can't solve the problems of hunger, poverty, and other social justice issues, but we can make a difference. The money donated to Rich's Ride met the yearly nutritional needs of more than 1,000 children. Maybe that seems like a small drop in a very large bucket, but it changes the world for each of those kids and their families. That change happened because a huge circle of supporters joined the journey of hope. Whether they rode with us, bought a book, helped with logistics, wrote a check, or followed along with a blog, everyone in this circle did their part to change the world. We do what we can, where we are with what we have. Then we trust God's pledge to use and multiply our efforts. Rich's Ride wasn't about numbers, but the numbers are one indication that God kept his promises. Rich's Ride was intended as a one-time event, so in New Orleans, the team celebrated the achievement of a God-sized dream. They thought they'd reached the finish line. But as the excitement faded, they sensed that God might have a different idea. Rich and Becky realized that New Orleans represented the close of a single chapter in a much bigger story. The journey of hope wasn't finished. Thanks to the generous, continuing support of the corporate sponsors who underwrite the cost of our rides, this improbable tale continues. In July of 2012, Rich's Ride partnered with Venture Expeditions for the IJM Freedom Tour, sponsored by International Justice Mission. Becky and Rich joined a group of 25 able-bodied cyclists on a 500-mile journey from Cincinnati to the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Along their ride, the group spoke about the horrors of modern-day slavery and human trafficking. They raised $30,000 to support IJM's work to free victims of these horrors. Florida Hope Tour 2013 will take the team on a 1,000-mile trip around the state's perimeter, partnering once again with Convoy of Hope's worldwide Children's Nutrition Initiative. This winter tour will provide new opportunities to share the story of hope and God-sized dreams. And then, the story of this dream isn't finished.